And who do we hear? Oh, yes. Good morning, Mr. Taylor.
Good morning.
How you doing, Mr. Taylor?
I'm doing okay, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. Mr. Taylor, my name is Alvin Roche. I will chair your panel this morning. To my left is Chairman Cheryl Renaza. To my right is Board Member Bonnie Jackson. We will
How you
compose your panel this morning, and let me explain the process to you.
Yes,
I will
sir.
read it into the record. Once that information is in the record, we'll conduct a thorough interview with you. At the appropriate time, we'll give Warden Day an opportunity to make comments or remarks, and then we'll hear from your supporters. And you have a gang of supporters here this morning.
Yes, sir.
First of all, and excuse me if I butcher some of these names, I'm not really good, but first of all, we have Eben Wright. He's with the Tulane Civil Rights and Federal Practice Committee. So he's an attorney. Mr. Wright, would you please, Mr. White, I'm sorry, Mr. White, would you please introduce yourself and tell us whether or not you're representing Mr. Tim?
Hi, yes, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Zachary Phillips. I'm another one of the student attorneys in the Tulane Law Clinic. I will be, if it is acceptable with the board, I will give a brief opening statement, and then my colleague, Ethan White, who's another student attorney, he will give a brief closing, if it's acceptable to the board.
So both of you are on Act 20 of the Louisiana State Legislature and representing a offender, Mr. White and Mr. Zach Phillips. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is your clinical professor in the area?
Yes, both of them are in the room. I'm joined with by Sam Brando and Lucia Blackshear-Vernier, who are our supervising attorneys, as well as Logan Fontenot, who's another student attorney. They're both here.
Okay, great. And then we have his sister, Ms. Wright. We have a brother, Mr. Terrence Brown. We have a cousin, Ms. Victoria Green. We have his aunt, Ms. Mary Brown Burnett. Another aunt is Krista Taylor. A friend, Darius Boyer. And representing First 72, Darrell Miles. And Ms. Tamara Brown, his mother, is Mr. Terrence Brown, Mr. Terrence Brown will be speaking. Ms. Mamie Brown Burnett will be speaking, and Ms. Tamara Brown, his mother, will be speaking. Did I get all of that correct? Okay.
I only was able to hear a couple of that, so I might just need to clarify. Tamaria Brown, Terrence Brown, and Mr. Darrell Miles, those will be the ones who will be speaking today.
I don't have Mr. Miles is speaking. I have Ms. Tamara Brown, Ms. Mary Brown Burnett, and Mr. Terrence Brown is speaking.
Okay.
Is there Mr. Miles?
Mr. Miles will take Mamie's place.
Yes, Mr. Miles, if it's all right with the board, will take Mamie Brown's place as a speaker.
Okay. And what is his full name? Because we do not have him on our list of participants.
His full name is Darrell Miles. The first name was.
Yeah, I was the same for last one. Yes. She's.
So we had him as not speaking.
Okay,
And we have changed that. So it's, Mr. Miles, Mr. Brown,
Yes, sir.
and his aunt, Mary Brown Burnett. Is that correct?
we were going to have Tamaria Brown, who is Mr. Taylor's mother, speak, as well as his brother Terrence Brown. That was our original plan. I
So
understand,
Ms. Mary Brown is not speaking.
correct.
We have everything right now, sir.
Apologies for that confusion, sir.
No problem. Would you please mute your mic? Now we have everything straight
Uh-oh, what happened?
and have the offender back on the screen.
Let's get back in. Guess I'll be in after a while.
Would everybody please, they might accept Rayburn? Okay, Mr. Taylor, I think we got the logistics straight now.
Yes, sir.
And let me enter the information into the record. We have Mark Q. Brown. He's 44 years old. He's a second felony offender. His good time, his parole date is May 9th, 2023. His adjusted good time date is March 27th, 2045. And his full term date is June 20th, 2046. He's accumulated 465 days of good time, and he was convicted and billed as an habitual offender for armed robbery, and he received a 49-year and 6-month sentence. Oh, okay, Mark Taylor. Yeah, we have so many dollars that say Mark, no, but it's Mark Q. Taylor. Is your
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Government name. Okay. Now you have everything straight in the record. Mr. Brown, I've been assigned your case, so I will start the interview. As I said before, Mark Taylor is 44 years old. He's a second felony offender with 2 arrests on his adult record. Both of your arrests, Mr. Taylor, you've been convicted.
Yes, sir.
His first arrest was in 1996 at the age of 17, 1 month before his 18th birthday for illegal possession of a weapon and was sentenced to 18 months. That sentence was suspended and he was placed on 1-year supervision. A year later, in 1997, he committed this offense and has been incarcerated ever since. Is that correct?
No, sir. I was arrested in December of 1996 on this charge, and I've been incarcerated ever since.
Yeah, but you were convicted in 97.
Yes, sir.
I see that you've been in a hospital off and on. How are you doing right now?
I'm doing extremely well, sir. It was a situation I wasn't aware of a family blood clotting issue, and I got it under control now. But I'm doing extremely well now.
I'm glad to hear that. We have opposition from the Jefferson Parish Law Enforcement community. We have adamant opposition, especially from the DA's office, who submitted a letter of opposition strongly opposing your early release. I see that you've only taken 3 good time classes. You've completed 100 hours pre-release, Malachi Dads, and anger management in 205. Have you taken any classes after you finished those 3 good time classes?
Yes, sir. I've taken many classes.
Okay, tell us about it.
All right. AVOW, which is Every Victim Affects Our World. This is a victim awareness class.
Right.
Within this class, it teaches us that not only are our decisions, whether it be criminal or just basic decisions, affect us, but they affect not only our victims, but our family, our community, and others as well.
Okay, any other good time classes?
I've completed IC3. I've completed Serve Safe as not only a food safety manager, but also a food safety manager instructor. I've completed.
Mr. Taylor, let me call some classes out. Have you completed Thinking for a Change?
No, sir.
Have you completed Victim Awareness?
Yes, sir.
Have you completed any substance abuse education?
No, sir. They said I didn't need substance abuse because I didn't have a history of substance abuse.
Outstanding. Have you taken any moral recognition courses?
Yes, a lot of faith-based classes. I have been a leader in the offender compassionate care program for over 5 years. I'm the president of the Washington JCs, and I'm also offender counsel substitute.
Okay, great. Okay. I see that you got your GED in 2004, a Master's of Arts in 2019, Safe Serve Certificate in 2019, and other educational achievements that I will go over just briefly on page 19. And there is a long list of achievements, but I'll start off with your compassionate relief service as a volunteer in the medical unit at Rayburn. We have multiple letters from personnel within that unit. I think we have a letter from the assistant nursing director and the nursing manager. So tell us about your volunteer work with the compassionate release. Is this with hospice patients?
Yes, sir. It's hospice and palliative care. I started in this program in 2010, and I rose to the coordinator about 5 years ago. And within this program, it teaches us not only, humility, which is the biggest part of it, because one day, not only could that be us, but we have to realize that these guys are human beings just as well as us, and they need help as well. So to be able to help out my fellow offenders in their time of need, it is a great honor for me to be able to do that.
Along with that, Mr. Taylor has got a paralegal diploma, and he served as a inmate counsel substitute while he was at Dixon. He has multiple educational diplomas and degrees. He has done a lot towards advancing his educational status since he's been incarcerated. He has multiple certificates of merit from the JC and letters of support from Molly Fowler, Terrence Brown, Judith Wright, Mamie Brown Burnett, Tiffany Bell, who is the Assistant Director of Nursing at Rayburn, and Paula Stringer, nurse manager. So he has performed very well as far as educational and community service while incarcerated. You've been incarcerated right at what, 24, 25 years?
Next month will be 26 years, sir.
26 years. Okay. Now, we have established that you were never in a situation where you had an issue with drugs or alcohol. Am I right?
No, sir. I've never had an issue with drugs or alcohol.
So let me tell you what my major issue is today, Mr. Taylor. And Warden, they correct me if I'm wrong. My major issue today is over a period of your incarceration, we have 46 write-ups in 26 years of incarceration. That's almost an average of 2 write-ups for every year of your incarceration. The good thing is that the write-up you had in 2021 has been dismissed. But you had a write-up, Class B write-up in 2017, 2018, 2019, and a total of 46 write-ups altogether. And there was a write-up in 2021, but it was dismissed by the facility. And what was that write-up for, Mr. Taylor?
2021. I think that's the one I got permission to go work.
I'm looking for
Until you find one, I'm gonna go home.
it.
Your last,
From what they're telling me, and I'm gonna continue to look, that he was in an unauthorized area. He got written up, but after further research, he had permission to be in that area.
okay, good. Now, what concerns me, in 26 years, we've had 46 write-ups. The last write-up was an aggravated fight. So tell me what that aggravated fight was about.
That was a situation where I could have decided better. I tried to defuse the situation by swinging some locks at a guy, but not intending to hit him, but miss him. And I was trying to scare him to leave me alone. And it was a lack of judgment on my part, and it was a mistake on my part.
And I have to note that it was an aggravated fight. It wasn't a simple fight, it was an aggravated fight. In 26 years, you've had 5 either aggravated fights or fights. You've had 5 aggravated disobedience. You've had 10 aggravated work offenses, 4 defiance, and 4 thefts. That doesn't correlate to me, a person who's working in compassionate care and doing such a good job in the nursing unit. So why are the disciplinary problems in the first 20 years of your incarceration?
The first 20 years of my incarceration, if you look at those write-ups, the majority of them come when I was in LSP, Angola, which I left in 2004. During that time of my incarceration, I was young, I was confused, I felt like the world owed me something. And I felt like, I was all alone. And I acted out in ways I had no business acting out. Now I'm older, I'm wiser, and I realize that not only did those decisions affect me, but they affected my family as well. So it was time for me to turn it around. And like as I stated earlier, if you look at those write-ups, the majority of them come from when I was in LSP, and I left LSP in 2004.
Did you complete the anger management course?
Yes, sir.
And what did you get out of anger management?
I got out of anger management that just one split second decision for me to get angry or get mad could cause a lifetime of harm, not only to myself, but to other people. If you notice, I completed anger management and aftercare after I had all those write-ups in LSP.
So what's a good policy? When a situation gets to the point where you think that you're going to get angry and cause aggressive movement, what's a good policy?
Now I've learned that a good policy is to try to seek help, or if you can't just walk away from the situation, try to reflect or use breathing techniques to establish yourself and cool yourself down. Because acting in a aggressive or physical manner is not going to do anything but make the situation worse.
And I suggest, Mr. Taylor, when you turn around, count to 10 very slowly.
Yes, sir.
One day, I need some comments and observations and recommendations on Mr. Taylor.
Yes, sir. Actually, it wasn't yesterday. When we spoke earlier in the week, I think it was Monday, and I was able to review his record. I actually myself was a little shocked at the number of write-ups he has had since he's been incarcerated. And after reviewing them and some explanation from him, I did realize, although he does have some 3 since 2017, a vast majority was earlier in his incarceration. In my time of dealing with Mark and seeing, some of the good things that he does around here with the compassionate release and with as a legal worker here, and being a mentor to some of the offenders here, I've seen nothing but good in Mark since I've been here and known Mark.
Thank you, Warren. I appreciate that. So Mark.
Yes, sir.
Tell this panel why we should release you early sentence, and how are you going to become a productive citizen and be an asset to the people around.
First of all, I want to thank you for this opportunity. Words cannot begin to express the remorse that I have for my situation and the pain that I've caused, not only for Ms. Burke and her family, but for my family as well. Since my incarceration, I've learned that, in all of my issues or all of our issues begins with taking accountability for our actions. All right. And taking accountability for our actions, we learn to make better decisions. And that is something that I have done over the past years as my incarceration has progressed. What can I do to stay out there? As you already know, educationally, I have, earned several degrees. I plan on going to law school. And at the end of the day, I'm going to do a lot of nonprofit work. I'm with Justice Partners Incorporated with Ms. Molly Fowler, who is a mitigation specialist. Also with other community leaders, such as Sharp Man NOLA, which is run by Mr. Pat Young. The situation with that. But from it all, my incarceration, I learned that humility is the biggest thing that we must have going into today's society. Humility teaches us that it's not about us. It's not about what we think or what we believe always. And we have to have an open mind on every situation and everything. And I believe going into society with an open mind and with humility in my heart and compassion for the next man would help me go a long ways and help me be a better person upon my eventual or possible release.
Good. Mr. Taylor, you have a lot of people who believe in you. You have a tremendous amount of letters of recommendation and support. The staff at Rayburn, relatives, and you have a letter of recommendation from the Executive Director of Justice Partners Incorporated. So there's a lot of people that believe in you and count on you to be a productive member of society.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Jackson, Ms. Nazarin, any questions? Okay.
If I can say something, sir.
You have a chance to make a statement at the very close of the hearing.
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Zach Phillips, would you like to speak at the end, or would you like to speak right now?
Sir, we had originally planned for me to make a brief statement at the opening, and then my colleague Ethan White to make another brief statement towards the end.
If both statements are brief, I will permit it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we will go ahead if it's all right. I can speak now if you'd like, and then Mr. White can speak at the end after the.
Proceed. Proceed.
Thank you, sir. Again, my name is Zach Phillips, one of the student attorneys with the Civil Rights Clinic at Tulane, representing Mr. Taylor. Mr. Taylor's story is one of regret and remorse, but it's also one of rehabilitation and redemption. He spent over half of his life in prison, and he's worked to make himself a better man, personally, spiritually, and professionally. He is no longer the misguided young boy that he was when he was convicted in 1997. Rather, now he is a mature adult who understands the gravity of his actions and has learned from his past mistakes so that he can help others. Since entering prison, Mr. Taylor has achieved many things. He's worked various jobs, and he's completed numerous certifications and programs related to those positions, and also for his overall personal well-being. He's earned his GED and his bachelor's degrees, and these certifications and degrees, coupled with his extensive experience in various jobs, in particular inmate counsel substitute and as palliative care coordinator, those will both aid him in securing future employment upon his release. In addition, Mr. Taylor has a thorough re-entry plan that will lead him to successful adjustment to a new life. Initially, he will work with the first 72 plus, which will support him in the days immediately following release. And then afterwards, he will live in Marrero, Louisiana with his brother Terrence Brown and his niece Tatiana. Mr. Taylor also plans to work at his brother's auto shop as a mechanic, as well as doing clerical work at the nonprofit organization Justice Partners Incorporated under Molly Fowler. These opportunities will help Mr. Taylor to get back on his feet and pave a path towards future success. He hopes to attend law school, as you heard him say, so that he can apply the knowledge he gained as inmate counsel substitute, advocating for people who are within the criminal justice system. His level of maturity, humility, leadership, and dedication to mentorship and helping others makes him an extraordinary candidate for parole because he has so much potential and he has so much good work to do. To that end, Mr. Taylor respectfully requests that this honorable board place him on work release. And lastly, as you can see, we are joined today by so many of his family members and friends As I mentioned at the beginning of this recording, his brother Terrence, his mother Tamaria, and Mr. Daryl Miles from the First 72 Plus have also prepared statements in support. Lastly, I thank this board and respectfully ask that he be granted parole under whichever terms and conditions this board seems fit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Let's hear from Terrence Brown. Would you please open your mic?
Good afternoon. How y'all doing?
Good afternoon. Give us your statement, Mr. Brown.
Yes. First, if any, I'd like to start off by just saying a little bit about my brother. You know, my brother, he was never a threat really to society, but only a means to survival. Not throwing it on the upbringings, but coming up in that era.
Mr. Brown, 1 second. We have to listen. I just want to record. Okay, Mr. Brown.
My brother was really just a victim of circumstances. I mean, he had 4 other siblings that had to follow behind him. So he did make sure that the thing that he did, that we did eat. You know, the few memories I do have of my brother, I remember him bringing in food amongst, you know, he was never a bad guy at all. You know, unfortunately, you know, he just was dealt a very bad hand that he tried to deal with. You know, and I can understand that that does not justify or give anybody the rights to do anything. But I ask y'all to just please take that into consideration, and knowing that from the person who was on the inside of that home as a little boy, what he really did. I remember him bringing us, you know, I don't know if you guys ever experienced hunger pains, but I did. And I remember him putting an end to it. You know, just please take that into consideration and understand that, I mean, it's really a difference between doing wrong and being wrong. And I know it's not a justification, but it really is a difference. And I will do everything on my part, from me being a minister, also as me being a business owner, to make sure that he is not a menace or a burden to you folks again. But please understand, he was never a bad guy. Never.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Let's hear from Mr. Daryl Miles of the First 72. Mr. Miles, you
Yes.
muted.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. We believe that Mr. Taylor would be a great fit with our organizations. His skill set and the things that he's has been involved in since his incarceration has demonstrated that he will be an asset to our organization. Our organization is equipped to provide all the necessities that he needs to transition into society smoothly. And with those resources, such as housing for him, we have elected to house him and to assist him in any other areas that he may be need assistance in. Also, we have programming that Mr. Taylor would be a perfect fit in as well. With his leadership skills and his IC3 skills, we could use him in our computer training program. So he has definitely the skills we need in our program, particularly with the offender compassionate release, the hospice area. We take in a lot of older guys from institutions who have been incarcerated for long periods of time. And they have certain needs as well. And Mr. Taylor, because he's a hospice volunteer, a matter of fact, a coordinator, so his skills are highly needed in this particular department in our organization. So in conjunction with the Tulane Law Clinic, we are excited about receiving Mr. Taylor should this board today grant him parole. And with that, we concur.
Thank you, Mr. Miles. Let's hear from his mother, Ms. Tamara Brown.
I was on a parole board hearing for a guy we have accepted it.
Mr. Miles, would you mute your mic? Mrs. Brown?
Yes. So, as a matter of fact, while
Mrs. Brown? Mr. Mary Brown? Ms. Brown? Okay. Ms. Brown is not connected. Ms. Brown, would you unmute your mic? Okay.
I would just leave it.
Ms. Brown, while she's connected to audio, I want to recognize that Assistant DA from Jefferson Parish, Mr. Randy Myers, has joined the Zoom hearing, and he will make a statement right before Mr. Evan White.
Things as well. The code of ethics.
You want me to go now?
Oh, no.
Majority of this class is going to be residential real estate agents, so that's just kind of the.
Mrs. Brown, would you please unmute your mic?
right.
Mrs. Brown, would you please unmute your mic? Is she connected to audio?
Yes. Unmute.
Hello?
Yes. Yes, Ms. Brown, we can hear you now. Would you please
Okay.
give us
So it's hard for me to hear you.
Ms. Brown, would you please give us your statement?
Okay. My name is Tamara Brown, as y'all know, and I'm Mark Taylor's mother, who sits before you today. Mark has been incarcerated for over 25 years in the system, and I pray for his release so he can be an asset to someone else, maybe many people. I'm proud of him. He didn't sit around prison and just mope and not do anything. He taught himself how to play several instruments. He was a minister for their little church. He was the president of the JCs. He's got various degrees, and he has honor status. And I just feel he deserves to come home.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sorry about this audio thing.
That's okay. Would you please mute your mic?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Before we conclude the hearing with Mr. Evan White, we're going to hear from the Assistant District Attorney in Jefferson Parish, Mr. Randy Myers.
Good afternoon, Randy Meyer, Assistant DA Jefferson Parish, and we're opposed to Mr. Taylor at this time. His two arrests and convictions were both involved weapons. The first for illegal possession of a weapon was his probation was revoked because of the armed robbery offense. Our concern is pretty much what Mr. Roche had expressed early on. He's had some limited programs, but he's had a good amount of disciplinary reports, 46 disciplinary reports. Over half have been aggravated. He's had 20 aggravated disobedience write-ups, and he's had 7 aggravated work offense write-ups. And that's continued into 2017. He had a theft write-up, 18 an aggravated work offense, and 19 an aggravated fighting offense. I think that shows that he's not quite ready to be released out of jail. I think he needs to show a little bit more restraint, a couple more years of restraint before he should be released on parole. So for those reasons, we're opposed.
Mr. White, before you make your presentation, we have a technical problem and we're trying to solve it right now. I think we've solved the problem, and we're going to hear from Mr. Evan White from the Tulane Civil Rights and Federal Practice Clinic. Mr. White.
Yes, thank you, board members. My name is Ethan White, and I'm one of the student attorneys representing Mr. Taylor. As you've heard today, Mr. Taylor is no longer the 19-year-old who was convicted 25 years ago. As Mr. Taylor has explained in his letter and statements to the board, he is sincerely remorseful for his involvement in the crime and has dedicated himself to utilizing the resources available to him at the DOC for his rehabilitation so that he may re-enter society better than he left it. As you heard, Mr. Taylor will be successful if granted parole because he is dedicated to his own personal growth and self-improvement. Although the board has expressed concern regarding Mr. Taylor's disciplinary record, it's important to note that more than 90% of his conduct offenses occurred before 2010 and 95% before the year 2015. Mr. Taylor has also completed numerous programs like personal development courses, including anger management, and skills-based classes like ServSafe training and certifications in digital literacy. Mr. Taylor has also actively pursued his education. Not only has he earned his GED, but he also graduated summa cum laude from Ashland University in 2019 with a bachelor's degree in communication studies. He's also developed new and marketable skills while incarcerated through his work as a palliative care coordinator in the kitchen and as offender counsel substitute. As to his work following release, Mr. Taylor respectfully requests that the board consider placing him upon work release. Mr. Taylor will also be successful if granted parole because he has a clear plan. Mr. Taylor will work with the first 72 plus, who will provide him with re-entry and transitional services. Mr. Taylor plans to work with his brother, Mr. Terrence Brown, at his auto body shop, and with Miss Molly Fowler at Justice Partners Incorporated, where he will do part-time clerical and nonprofit work. Mr. Taylor also plans to study for and hopefully attend law school. Mr. Taylor will live with his brother, Mr. Terrence Brown, and his niece, Miss Tatiana Brown, just 2 of many family members who will be able to provide Mr. Taylor with extensive support if granted parole. Mr. Taylor's personal growth, personal plan, and vast support network will ensure that he is successful and does not recidivate if this board grants him parole. I thank the board and respectfully request that Mr. Taylor be granted parole under whatever terms and conditions the board deems fit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White. Mr. Taylor, it's time for you to make that statement that you want to make.
Yes, sir. Once again, I appreciate the board and I thank the board for hearing me at this time and hearing my situation. I have not always been the person that people wanted me to be, but I have made strides and have grown up in this prison setting. And I thank incarceration for helping me grow up. Because there's a lot of things that had I not endured or come through this situation, I would have not learned. But I would humbly ask that the board consider, if granting me parole, that I be sent to Lafourche Parish work release to further my reentry into society by being able to earn money for during the work release, so I won't be a complete burden to my family, if possible. If not, or any other transition work program. But I thank the board for hearing my case and my situation, and I ask that you take all things that were stated into consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Is the panel ready to vote? Mr. Taylor, I've been sitting on this committee on parole for the last 7 years. And someone with a disciplinary record, such as yours, will have a hard time being released because I voted for you. His disciplinary record while you're incarcerated is a indication to me of how you're going to follow the rules and regulations when you're in supervision. I realize that you were a teenager at the time you were revoked last time in 1997, but it gives me an indication about your discipline, how you handle being a productive member of society in disregard for the rules and regulations of society. And your record is not a good record. You have a lot of aggravated offenses. Theft, fighting. But there's the other side of Mark Taylor, the compassion side, who works with people at the final stages of their lives to show them compassion. It's difficult work. It's exhausting work. It depresses you. But you have done this for a number of years, and you've worked yourself up to coordinator of that service. And you have to take that into consideration. So, taking your community service into consideration, your educational advancements, working yourself up from no degrees to high school diploma and a bachelor's of arts degree, a paralegal certificate, other good programs, the positive remarks by Warden Day. And that carries a lot of weight for me, because I made a note in my presentation, unless you had those positive remarks for Warden Day, I probably would not grant you. But you did get the positive remarks from the warden. And you served over 50% of your sentence. You served 26 years of a 49.5-year sentence. So taking all that in consideration, I'm going to vote to grant your request this afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
After release, I want you to do community service, but it's with the first 72, with your pastor, or get with your parole officer. I want you to do some community service.
Yes, sir.
8 hours a month, 8 hours a month.
Yes,
I
sir.
want you to have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. And I'm counting on you. I'm counting on you to be a productive member of society. And when situations present themselves, sometimes you have to walk away when that negative situation presents itself and don't even address it. Just walk away. And
Yes,
you'll
sir.
be and you will be a better man for just walking away.
Yes, sir.
Madam Chairman.
Mr. Taylor, I have a little bit of a different viewpoint. I think everybody did a really good job today, and I appreciate the good work that you've done. I've heard from you and your attorneys that, you believe, everybody believes work releases are good for transitional work program. Is a good fit for you, and I agree with that. But I don't believe that the DOC would find you suitable for a work release program based on first of all, the habitual offender status, and then your conduct record, with the number of aggravated offenses that you have. My vote today would be, I just don't think it's today. For all that to work out for you, I believe I consider that you do have a recent write-up. You need a more sustained period of being totally write-up free. And reapply when you're eligible. So my vote today, based on those factors and the opposition that's been expressed today, would be the denying of the law.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Ms. Jackson.
Yes, my vote today would be to grant. You've done some good programs, especially your work with compassionate care. You take advantage of educational opportunities. You have a good support system. So my vote today would be to grant.
Mr. Taylor, you have received 1 vote to deny your request and 2 votes to grant your request. And I have to check with my staff to see if you're eligible for a 2/3 vote. Okay, let me ask you some questions. You have a low risk assessment. You've completed pre-release, and you have your GED.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So you do qualify for 2/3 vote. Based on the 2/3 rule, your parole has been granted. You have a good day.
Thank you, sir. What's the recommendation?
Okay, that completes our caseload at Rainbow Correctional Center. Time is 1:06 p.m. One day, thank you for accommodating us. You have a good day.
Thank y'all. We got a bunch of grass and leaves and stuff raked up at our house. Congratulations. See, I got to meet.
I gotta go too.
I think she backed up to 2.
Oh, did you?
I'm counting on you.
Wow. So what's my takeaway on this to unpack it? One is that what is wrong with our system? He has 2 armed robberies, which I get is bad, but this is before the age of what? 20? He's 19? And he gets a 49-year sentence. And meanwhile, we have these perverts, these people who destroy children, who destroy their own children, who get 5 years and 6 years and 7-year sentences. I just don't understand it. And the idea that they would come here and even to have one of the board members say, no, you're not ready to get out is disturbing to me. It's like, it's just, I respect the sport so much and I really agree with so much of what they do. But to have Miss Renata say, no, he served 26 years. It's like, it's it's beyond me. The next thing that I would say is, who was it? The preacher in the middle. Why, like, he's getting up, he's moving around, he has his camera still on, his mute's off, and it's like, just have some respect. There's this man, basically, he feels his life is on the line, and you can't have like the decency to just block off a few minutes of your calendar. But other than that, it's just like, and also, he had gone years without having any write-ups. So like, why are you holding something that happened 6-7 years ago against him? He served his time. I'm glad that he got out. But just frustrated, really, just frustrated. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you.